In this video, we're going to look at another powerful feature of the layout generator, and that's its ability to modify the height of any device in our network. So what I'm going to be doing with this example is I'm going to show you how you can basically cut custom shapes into our terrain here. And I'm going to do this to the advanced purlin, which is our base terrain shape. Now the reason I'm going to be adjusting this base shape is because after I cut these new features into the terrain, I want to take advantage of the terracing and the erosion, that nice realistic final look. So we've got our purlin device selected here, and I'm going to go to my layout view. Now if I can't see the terrain, I'm going to go to overview anyway, click zoom to extents, and then I'm going to click this button, attach new layout as height adjustment. Now because I'm going to be drawing in maybe a valley where perhaps it's been cut by a river, I'm going to use a line shape, and I'm going to start just outside the extents here. I'm going to left click to create a vertex, and I'm just going to go and left click in different locations to create my line. Now once I've finished my line, I'm just going to right mouse click, and I'm going to right mouse click one more time just to turn off that line tool. Okay, so let's click on that, and as you can see straight away, we get this big horrid white area because the terrain is basically being pushed up by this line, and this line's area is defined by its fall off, as we know from our previous example where we looked at using the layout generator as a mask. So let's have a look at what we can do here. Let's move our mouse over top of this line and double click on it, and this will bring up its properties. Now let's just pull back that fall off. That's a bit better. Now I'm going to do a couple of things here. The first thing is I am going to drop the height of the terrain. Okay, at the moment it's at maximum, and we'll drag it down until it sinks down into the terrain here. This is in our preview. And maybe drop it a little further. Nice. Okay, I'm going to leave its default fall off profile here. I could change these if I wanted to give a different look, but I think I'm going to leave it as my linear, so this nice sharp point in the center, and I might just pull that back a little more. Now the other thing I'm going to do to this, and I can let's just move this to one side, is I'm going to swap this line from being this straight jagged linear line to a nice smooth curve. So to do that, I'm going to right click on the line, and under this pop-up menu I'm going to click on Perform Curve Smoothing, which will just smooth it out into a nice curve. Now it's a little too perfect for my taste, so what the layout generator lets us do is we have an option here called Shape Breakup Participation, and we tick this box here called Use Breakup. What it's doing is it's basically adding a little bit of fractal or random noise to this line, so it's not as perfect as the hand-drawn one. Now it's just pushed it to one side, so we need to edit the breakup fractal. Okay, the first setting here, fractal breakup, is the intensity of that fractal. So if we move this down to maybe 0.2, okay, we need to close this to see the change. It's a little closer to the line. Let's go edit again. Breakup scale is basically how large the detail or the scale of the fractal is. So if we make this quite small, we get this very kind of busy looking fractal. Now the last setting in here is how detailed the edges are. So if I make this 6, I'm going to get this kind of very rough looking edge going along here. Just lets us add a little bit more of a chaotic feel and kind of something a bit more natural than a hand drawn perfect line that runs through here. Okay, so I can increase the effect of this fractal if I just crank up the Use Breakup Participation, and you can see it in our little preview here. As I crank this up, I get more of a jagged look to the whole thing. Yeah, it's quite nice. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I might just knock down the fall off a little more. There we go. And I'm going to just close that. So now that I've cut this into the terrain, I'm going to just switch to my 3D view, my height output. I'm just going to run a build across that. So it has to build our height adjustment, run some erosion over it, And there is our now custom inserted height adjustment that's turned into this nice looking valley. And we can use as many of these as we like. In fact, all you need to do is under height adjustment, go into the layout view, and let's say we wanted to add maybe a rocky platform out here. I can use the circle tool, and in here I can just left click and drag out a circle and let that go. Now again, it's got a bit of fall off here, so it's made this big chunky look to it. I'm going to right click to turn that off, and if I left click on this, you notice that we have this dotted line. We can actually manually run our mouse over that till that starts flashing and drag this down to kind of visually adjust the fall off. Okay, so rather than double clicking and doing it this way, we can actually do it with this control here. And we can turn that back. Now, one thing we can also do with the fall off is rather than having it go outside the circle, we've got a switch here. We can click that and it'll put the fall off inside the circle. Okay, so we can kind of just make it fade in around the inside here. And if we click on one of these sides, okay, until that highlights, we can drag out the shape of the circle like so. Okay, now it's got this kind of nice fractal kind of pattern, and that's because we set the use breakup option here. If we want to make it rounder, we can just crank down this shape breakup participation option, but I want to give it a bit more of a natural fractal kind of feel just by cranking that right up. Okay, I'm going to also drop the height, so up here we can see it's a little too high. I'm going to knock this down, so maybe it's around there. So it just gives this nice rocky platform sticking out. Might be handy for something like a landing zone for a spaceship, or a platform where you might put like a castle or something like that. So it gives us a bit more flexibility in designing the look of our terrain. And of course this is on my base, so when I run the erosion tool it should take care of making that look a little bit nicer. So let's get our 3D view just so I can see what it's going to look like. Click height output, and I'm going to click and build that. I'll run its erosion magic, and once it's finished we'll click OK. And now we've got this nice valley, and we've got this really nice clean looking rocky output like that. Okay, so that's how we can use the layout generator to add a little bit of customization to existing terrains.